Hi there, and thank you for listening to the first ever episode of the Muddling Through podcast. I'm Gordon. I'm your host, and I am joined today by my brother Alex. Figured it was fitting that I have him on first, since we've done podcasts together in the past. So we talk about working out, mental health, just generally, how we do. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Thanks. And we're on.
Hello.
How are you, Alex?
I'm doing good. How are you, Gordon?
Doing pretty well.
All right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
About myself. All right. Well, my name's Alex. I'm Gordon's brother. I'm 22 years old. Currently single.
And ready to mingle.
Yeah. And ready to be a social mess. Yeah. Do I need to tell my weight and birthday and stuff? Or tell anything?
I mean, what... let's talk about something that you've been going through recently. How long have you been lifting weights?
Lifting weights? It's gonna be almost 4 years now.
4 years.
I started right after I graduated high school in 2015, and then I weighed 160 pounds and I'm 6'3", so I was basically a stick. So I thought to myself, I need to do something, and graduating, I wasn't going to go to college or anything like that. So I was thinking to myself, I got to do something that's worth my time. So some people that I knew from the homeschool theater guild play that I used to be a part of in high school, their parent actually runs a gym called Vinny's Gym. So I decided, you know what, I might as well try that out, see if it works out. I had a couple of other friends who went there and they really loved it. So I was carpooling with them a little bit, and we're all going at the same time, so it was pretty fun. And I basically been with it ever since. I started at 160 4 years ago. Right now I'm a little over 200 pounds, so I've gained a fair amount of weight. A lot of it's muscle, a little bit of extra fat, but it's whatever. But yeah, now I've deadlifted 405 for a set of one, and I've almost benched 200 pounds, so I'd say I'm doing pretty good with that. It's been a slow process, but luckily I've been having videos taken of my deadlift over the course of the last couple of years, so you can see me in my first video, and I look literally just like a stick, and I'm lifting 250 pounds, and I'm screaming my head off. And then most recently, last weekend, I lifted 405 for a set of 5. And I was basically just grunting the entire time. But, that's the thing. Is I went up 150 pounds in the last, 2 years? Something like that? 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So it's a very slow, grueling process, but it's been really good. I'm really glad that I kept up with it.
And I think something that you and I share is that we have difficulty self-motivating. So
definitely.
Having a coach, I imagine, helps a bunch.
Yeah. That was another thing that I was thinking to myself, because I'd done, health class in high school, and I'd pushed myself, but that was because I had a teacher who was keeping me accountable, saying things like, you got to keep up with it, you got to do this and this and this during the week.
Okay.
So I just said to myself, okay, that's what I got to do. But then, when I got out of high school, I had no one telling me what to do. So the only person to tell me that was either myself, and I'm really bad at that. I can't keep up with it over a long period of time.
Sure.
But when you're going to a gym every week and you're paying for it monthly, that's a pretty good incentive to be like, okay, I'm putting money towards this, and there's somebody at the gym waiting for me, expecting me to come and to do the work. And that's been a great motivation for me, because a lot of the time I'd go there and I'd say to my instructor, I'm just not feeling that great. I feel down. My stomach feels weird. I feel dehydrated. And then just be like, suck it up, buttercup. Be a man. And then I'd get annoyed. I'd be like, fine, maybe I will be. And then I'd lift the weight. And it'd even be on a very sucky day.
Yeah.
I would do my best during a day where I wasn't feeling my best. Or I would do terrible on a day where I was feeling like $1,000,000. So you can't judge weightlifting based on how you feel. Gotcha. You just got to go ahead and do it.
Right. I want to go back to one thing you were saying. I didn't realize that health class was not just educational, and you also had to do What kind of work were you doing for a health class?
So, basically, they had us make a chart for certain exercises. Like, I can't remember what it was. It was just 1 year of health class for me, but I did like push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks. The worst part for me, the one that I was not used to at all, and I'm still not used to, is they wanted me to get cardio for 30 or 40 minutes a day.
Okay.
For 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So I'd go outside and I'd run. I don't even know how far I ran. I knew the route basically, and it'd take me half an hour. But I'm just like dying inside because I've never been a cardio person, and
Sure.
I don't know how to keep a level breathing technique. Basically, I'd just be doing all these very different sounds. You'd be like, like it doesn't even make any sense. So that was an interesting learning curve, and another reason why it was difficult for me to motivate myself. Again, the biggest motivation for me was because it was part of a class
Sure.
that they helped keep me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm going to go for a run. Yeah, I might do that once and then never do it again. Or I'll think to myself, you know what? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go for a half-hour walk. It's going to be great. I'm going to do it 5 days a week. No, it's not what happens.
It is difficult to keep a...
Oh, it's very difficult, but that's what you're doing now, right? Like, you're motivating yourself to push forward in exercising and stuff?
In a way, yeah. Going every day.
Okay.
Getting up a little early and just, getting after it.
What do you do?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything?
Got a Planet Fitness membership, so doing some ab workout initially, trying to do like cardio as a warm-up. I'm really struggling with getting like a specific structure going.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's just been like, I'll do a little of this, a little of that, and then I'll change things up before I get into like any sort of groove, which isn't ideal.
Just trying to figure out where you fit in with the exercise and stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's best to have. I feel like it's best to have like a process, like a plan in place. But my plan isn't. Like I keep changing it.
Yeah, well, you're still trying to find out what works and what is the best way to go about it, right?
Right. There's one thing that I've been considering doing is what's called the One Punch Man Challenge.
Yes. Oh, dude.
Which, for those of you that don't know, is 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run.
I don't remember the exact amount of time for running. I probably just zoned out at that point.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to running, I'm just like, no.
It's a 10-kilometer run, or you could probably substitute a 10-mile run, which is obviously longer, but that's kind of the idea. So I've been toying with the idea of doing that, but my cardio is so terrible that just doing that would pretty much ruin me for the rest of it.
Same, honestly.
I kind of want to do it and start off at a lower level, like say 30 of each, and then try to build in like pull-ups as well. The pull-ups are rough.
Pull-ups are very hard, especially because you and I, like, we're 6 feet and over, so it's
like getting the torque in the elbows is kind of a trick.
Well, the thing is that when I'd be doing pull-ups, my problem was I would kind of swing my legs a little bit forward, so I'd be getting the motion of like swinging and then going up, kind of like just like a swing or a seesaw, stuff like that. Which is not good. You want to just have like your full body weight right underneath you. Yeah. And then you can have torque, but if you're just swinging, you're not doing a lot of the work.
Right. You gotta have like a still form or like a held form. Rather than just kind of swinging around on the bar. Yeah,
it's not acrobatics or anything like that. It's just lifting yourself up and putting yourself back down, basically. I was
going to say, unless you're trying to do, what is it called? Like a muscle up. Have you seen those?
Is that when you push yourself up and then you hold yourself...
And then you get on top of the bar?
Basically, where you're half on the bar and your legs are below it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen... That's... Wasn't that something that Oliver Queen did in Arrow?
He
did that at the end. He
probably did. He did, what is it, like a Jacob's Ladder? Or the
Salmon Ladder.
Salmon Ladder.
Yeah. He did that, and then he'd get to the top, and he'd just rest up there, and all of us would be like, he's got 8 or 9 abs. I can't tell, but I hate them already.
Super impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, one of the things that's really important is you got to give yourself time to rest.
Okay.
You know, like, so you say you're working out every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give your body time to rest, because that's when it starts to actually do stuff.
Yeah.
You might feel you might feel like you've worked out a lot, and you're like, oh, I can feel it in my body and everything. Your muscle starts to build afterwards when you're resting, when you're eating, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just working out every single day nonstop, you'll get to a certain point, and then you'll just stop there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that my instructor had me do is I go twice a week.
Yeah.
So it was a very slow process for me.
Sure.
But when I first started out, I asked him, like, what should I eat? What should I do to, get to a better place? He looks at me. It's like one glance, and he's like, just eat. Eat everything. Go eat some cheeseburgers. Eat a sandwich, please. Just help yourself. So something that I am having difficulty with now is I'm definitely stronger.
Yeah.
But I've also gained some weight around my midsection.
Sure.
So I asked him, like, hey, can I diet in a certain way to lose that but have everything else? He's like, no, if you can't target certain places for fat loss. That's basically what he's saying. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go on a diet, that's going to make everything go down, basically. If I eat a lot of calories, then I'll be maintaining the level of discipline in strength building, so I'll be able to move up a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously diet is very important.
Right. Nutrition, rather.
Yeah. But you need sustenance.
Yeah.
Basically, you need to have something to work with to get to a certain point. Otherwise, it's like making bricks without straw.
Sure. Pretty old school, like a deep cut reference there.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough, because I'm like, I feel great with my upper torso, but my lower torso, I need to have like a corset or something. So I was actually considering that, because I go to a lot of conventions and I want to look like these really cool anime characters, but got a little bit of a donut around, so I'm like, maybe I need to just tighten it up a little bit.
Spare tire there.
Yeah, but
I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, you got to eat. You got to get your calories in, and losing weight is putting yourself in calorie deficit. But it also has to do with specifically what you're eating. So, if you're looking to trim down on body fat, one thing you're going to want to do is just keep an eye on your carb intake. Like, carbs, aren't the devil necessarily, but you're not going to want to eat as much of them as the food pyramid. It's like, hey, eat a lot of bread. It's like, no.
Bread kills. I've been eating so much bread recently, and I know that's what's getting at me.
Yeah,
so.
You definitely want a high protein intake, and fat is fine too, but fat has more calories. Actually, fat is a decent substitute for carbs when you're trying to cut weight, because it has more calories than either carbs or protein does. So it's a great way to fill in your calorie count.
Okay.
If you're eating the right kind of fat. So if it's like a heavy fat and protein diet, and then you have a little bit of carbs, you should notice like loss of body fat, I think.
Yeah. Again, like, the problem with me is that I'll usually want other people to tell me what to do and then do it.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing the homework myself and understanding how diet, nutrition works, carb, like, basically weighing stuff out, right? I need 10 ounces of this and like 5 ounces of this, and just like putting it all together and understanding how it's going to affect my body. That's the stuff that I struggle with a lot. Like, I haven't done the homework. I don't understand how a lot of that works.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been weightlifting for 4 years and I still haven't looked into that, because I was just like, I'm just going to gain weight and all that weight is going to turn to muscle and I'm going to be great.
Yeah.
But no.
Not so much.
Yeah. It's more complicated than that, I think. And again, it's really tough when you're a real slim guy, because you want to be jacked or at least toned.
Yeah.
But then that means you got to push yourself to eat a lot. And I mean,
I think they call that a hard gainer.
You think so? Is that what they call it?
That's what they call it.
That's
when you're a skinny guy that has trouble putting on mass.
Yeah, maybe. I honestly don't know, but that's
Jeff Cavalier has a lot of videos talking about hard gainers.
Okay, yeah. I was looking at videos where I was like, is skinny fat a thing? They're like, yes it is. And I'm like, well, crap. Guess I'm in the boat. All right.
Yeah.
As long as I wear baggy clothes, I should be fine, right?
Yeah. I mean, the real thing you want to look out for, like, outside of, like, you know, keeping track of your macros, like, outside of looking at your protein and fat and carb intake, the real thing you want to stay away from is sugar. Because sugar will mess you up, you know, on its own. It'll mess you up more than probably anything else outside of, like, weird chemicals that are going to mess with your body in different ways, like other ways.
High fructose corn syrup or something
just
like that?
Sugar in general.
Okay.
Like processed sugar especially. So like sugar from fruit is like, you know, it's workable. Like you can deal with that. Your body can deal with that.
Or like is honey a decent substitute or
I think it's better. But overall you want to keep your sugar intake, you know, as low as humanly possible.
Probably should do that. One of the problems that I have is my roommate, he got a bunch of candy from, you know, like discounts after Halloween or Easter, stuff like that, or even families kept getting him candy for his birthday and Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually he just put it into a giant bowl on the counter that
we
walk by it every time we go to the bathroom. I'm just like,
that's a really intense
Skittles.
bowl of candy.
Dude, it's like, yeah, that's diabetes in a bowl right there. That is so bad.
Pretty much is.
And the problem is that a lot of the time I need to, like, I'm feeling kind of peckish. I need a snack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything in my cupboard.
Yeah. But
then I glance over and it's just staring there. It's like, hey, eat me, take me.
Yeah, I mean, candy you definitely want to stay away from. But in that regard, you could probably do something like, well, you're probably going to want to do something like pick something else. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get peckish. I need a snack food. I'm gonna pick something that is gonna, like, I'm not gonna be as thrilled about it because it's not candy, but it's something that I can eat that isn't going to mess me up, like in what I'm trying to accomplish. So like Cajun trail mix might be good because it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. It doesn't have the chocolate in it that a lot of trail mixes do.
Okay.
You could do just like regular, like salted nuts.
I've been doing a lot more, like I make my own trail mix, which is basically 3 things: raisins, almonds, and peanuts. So I don't know if raisins are the things that I have to take out, but the things that make it actually taste good. So.
I mean, yeah. I mean, raisins should be fine. I mean, obviously you're getting a little bit of sugar, but it's more natural, like it's less processed, so it's going to affect you, like it's not going to affect you negatively as much.
FYI to the people who are listening, I am not an expert in anything, so
neither of us are experts.
Don't take what I say at face value. I'm just saying what kind of worked for me and what didn't, what happened. So,
I came up with this recently. I don't know anything, but I've heard a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a pretty good saying, actually. I'll probably use that sometimes. Be like, my brother came up with that.
It's a good way to keep yourself in check, because it's easy to think you know things.
You know nothing.
Exactly. But if you assume that you don't know anything, unless you like really know something, you'll get in a lot less trouble that way.
You know, it's funny you say that. I feel like we do that a lot, where we're just like, I kind of maybe know what I'm talking about, but if I don't say anything, I won't be in trouble. So I'm just going to keep quiet while everyone else like argues about this and that and the other.
Yeah. I mean, the thing to do in that scenario is just like try to just like make sure that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So like if something doesn't sound right to you, you're like, I don't really know anything about that. Can you unpack that for me?
One of the things that I find I do, at least in my head, not actually in conversations, was not devil's advocate, but putting in like a different view of things.
Yeah.
Like people will say, oh, this person did this and it's absolutely terrible. It's like, well, yes, but you know, you kind of do the same thing too.
Which also,
that's a bad example, but like,
not a great example.
You know, just like saying, well, try and figure out where another person's perspective is coming from.
Right.
Or coming up with an ideal to rebuttal what they're saying. Or not even rebuttal it, just be like, okay, what about this, though?
Like add nuance, perhaps?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
All right. What sort of situations do you?
Oh, dude, I don't know if I can even go into those.
Yeah, maybe give that one a miss.
Well, I have a lot of friends who I love with all my heart, but they tend to have very different opinions from me.
Sure.
And I'm not
more progressive.
Yeah. I'm more conservative individual.
Sure.
And they'd be like more liberal leaning, or not even leaning, like they're full on over there.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can't be fully expressive in what my opinion is.
Sure.
Otherwise, I'm gonna get like fire and brimstone thrown at me.
A lot of flack.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And what's hard is that I'm not good at arguing or even talking about what my opinion is or being eloquent with my words and basically making a sentence that makes sense, basically, or where I'm coming from, or I haven't done the homework to come up with responses to what they have to say.
Okay.
I still have my opinions, though.
Yeah.
But they've been like doing this nonstop their entire lives and saying like, oh yeah, if you have an argument for this, they'll go straight to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So a lot of the time I'll just listen to people or friends or family just saying certain things that I will kind of cringe at, I'll be like, is that, I don't agree with that, but also I don't always say something either.
Yeah.
Because I'll be outmatched and outnumbered.
Right. And you don't necessarily have the facts to back up your position.
Yeah, but also at the same time I feel over the last several years, I've grown to not see everything as black and white.
Yeah. So
if this person thinks this, then I can't interact with that person at all anymore. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have different opinions. I have a different opinion. Yeah. I have to take it with a grain of salt, People, somebody like you'll post something on social media and I won't like it. I'll be like, oh, depends on how much I don't like it. I might just skip it.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll be like, I don't want to see that. But if I post something on social media, it's gonna go bad a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'll feel like, maybe I did mess up with that. Maybe it's not entirely accurate. But at the same time, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. It's a tricky world out there, and I don't know how to navigate it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
I think we both kind of lack a certain awareness of how things are going to come across. So more likely as not, we're going to end up putting our foot in our mouth.
Yeah. Well, if this doesn't bother me, so why should it bother someone else? Or, hey, people say things that bother me, and I don't say anything that other people probably react the same way, right?
Other people can return the favor.
Guys, please.
Anybody?
No.
Anybody?
Okay. I know other people who put their foot in their mouths, feet in their mouths, a lot more than I tend to do. So I'll cringe at that and be like, oh, why would you do that?
Oh, buddy.
Buddy. But at the same time, I'm guilty of the same thing, I guess it's a different level of foot in mouth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's a challenge, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm not a people person. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have a certain level of empathy, but at the same time, I won't always think through what I'm going to say and be like, you know what? I might as well say it. It might be bad, but it might be fine.
Yeah. I've been listening to Jocko Willink, his podcast.
I listened to some of him last week. You told me about him.
Yeah. What'd you think?
He's pretty cool. Dude, that guy, he looks like he eats monsters for breakfast.
Doesn't he?
He is scary. He
looks so
that evil. Is the most man a man could be. He's this big.
He's so masculine. Yeah, oh my God.
Like, push down your emotions and fight like a beast. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the interesting thing about him is like he looks like such a monster, and he is like super capable. Like he's ex-Navy SEAL. He's super fit. He's like constantly like, get after it. Yeah. But the thing that he'll say is like, when you're dealing with people, you got to use tact. So like that's something that you and I can really develop. There's one he was going through. I think he does these book reviews, right?
Yeah.
So he was going through the book review. I think it was The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and he was talking. And in The Art of War, he says Sun Tzu says like don't attack a fortified position, which translates in life to if someone has like a really entrenched opinion, it's like it doesn't make sense to go after them because they have all these defenses set up. So if you're going, like, you might not even just attack them, you would want to do something else. Like, and he's always talking about like getting around problems.
Okay.
Like in the military, like facing something, like going after something head on, attacking something like directly isn't necessarily the best way. You want to come in from the sides, and like best case scenario, they don't even know that they were fighting. So like if you can, like, tact is like a stealth mission.
Yeah.
Essentially. So like you're coming in and like you're doing your thing and you get the result you want and they don't even realize that there was a fight going on. Is kind of the idea.
I get scared that I wonder if I'm manipulating people in that sense.
I mean, there's he talks about that too. He talks about like his major thing is leadership, right? Mm-hmm. So he talks about manipulation, and sure, you are manipulating people to get the result you want, but if you're doing it so that there can be a better scenario, like situation, like if you're trying to improve the situation of yourself and the person that you're manipulating, it's better than if you're just trying to improve things for yourself.
Okay.
So like, obviously, if you're not in a leadership position, it becomes a little dicier. Like, oh, you don't have the authority to manipulate people to get them to do what's best for both of you. Then it's like, oh, kind of ease off a little bit maybe. But
yeah,
he talks about how manipulation has like this negative stigma about it. It's like, well, you kind of have to.
Well, if you think about it, most of our interactions are manipulative in one way or another. Like if you see someone who talks smack to you, you'll be like, well, I'm talking smack to them, and you're basically firing them up, which is sometimes what you want to do because you're fired up too.
Right. Or if you're polite to someone that you don't particularly like, that may seem manipulative to other people because you're being disingenuous, so to speak. But you're also trying to get, like, you're just trying to keep the peace, more or less. Like, it doesn't cost you anything necessarily.
You know what I think about? I think about when you're playing an online game and you get into a group chat and there's one guy who's just like, oh, this absolutely sucks. You're all doing terrible and that sort of thing. One way to sort of manipulate or use tact is to be like, yeah, this is we're not doing so great, but let's do our best. Or like, yeah, I'm not going to go down with a fight or something like that,
Encourage or pump up the other
exactly, pump them up and then be like, hey, you did great with this. Or, hey, I'm coming. I got your back, basically. Yeah. Like, not being like, well, you're sucking too.
Like positive reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about being tactful, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I have a tendency to not be much at. I don't even know how to finish that sentence, honestly. I don't tend to have a lot of tact, but
yeah, I think tactless is the word you're looking for.
Tactless. Yeah, I'd say so. I have been in that situation before where people will be online and they'll just be talking smack about our team, be like, "Why is everyone doing this?" I'd be playing a tank character, and I'd be like, "Hey, can someone play support or play heals or something like that?" And they'll be like, why aren't you playing heals? I'm like, I'm already doing one of the things that we need. Everyone else is doing DPS. So, that was one particular situation that I had where I got that full view of toxic players, basically. And it was where you try to diffuse the situation as best as possible. But I'm no bomb expert when it comes to diffusing a situation just like that.
You're not a social bomb expert?
Social bomb. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what's the different version of a bomb expert? Social bomb expert. Yeah, that's pretty good. We should write this stuff down. Just have
I mean, we could. But I feel like other people have already done that.
Probably, honestly. So many people have done certain things where I was like, I had an original idea. No, you didn't. Good idea, but no, it's...
Yeah.
You weren't the first.
Someone thought of it.
Oh, man.
Darn it.
Trademark. Pfft.
What is that?
Yeah, lawyers. Crap. I don't know. Yeah.
Now, you've been seeing a counselor, right?
Yeah, I've been seeing a counselor for the last 6 or 7 months. basically, I figured it's time. It's pretty much time. I was going through some stuff over the course of the 6 months prior to that, where it was just like weighing me down and making me feel like I was in a really, really bad space October to November of last year, because I started to feel sick. I was feeling really dizzy and stuff, and I didn't know what it was. I went to the ER, I went to urgent care, all this stuff, and it was just it was scaring me, and then it was putting me into a new level of low where nothing seemed to matter, which is a really bad place to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be there.
So I got to a little bit of a better place after that, but I still figured, you know what, I need to work out a bunch of stuff. So I figured I'd go see a counselor, and it's been pretty enlightening. I wouldn't say that I am doing really, really well right now. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to a counselor. I feel absolutely great. It's a very slow process for me, but at least I'm not at where I was back then. And it's weird because you think about it, you think like, oh, all these crazy depressed or anxious people, they need to go see counselors, but I'm absolutely fine. And it's a really humbling thing where you got to stop and think to yourself, actually, I need some work done. I need to take care of a couple of things and just get it out. And it's nice because you're literally talking to a person for an hour about what's going on with your life. Yeah. And yes, you can do that with a friend, but it's not always that consistent, right. Or they don't know the best way to go about, helping you out. Yeah. And it was also very bizarre for me too, because like, you live with me and we've had a pretty good life. Like, we haven't had anything tragic, like seriously tragic or traumatizing happen to us in our lives. I don't know about if anything happened to you, but like for me, I felt like I did pretty okay.
Yeah, pretty normal.
Yeah, like we had, great parents who loved us. We didn't have to go through any extreme hardships that I could think of.
Yeah, no one in our immediate family had any debilitating illnesses.
Not really, no. Like, none of us lost an eye or went deaf or anything like that.
Got any major car crashes?
Yeah, no.
Not really.
I think some of us have rear-ended cars a couple times, but nothing too serious. So I was honestly wondering where all the baggage that I had was coming from.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, okay, if it's not from like a traumatizing past, where did it come from? And I've always been a pretty anxious person, so I tend to overanalyze stuff and hype things up, but I'll also, it's not like sometimes it's daydreaming, but it's also sort of like nightmare-earing.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like coming up with the worst scenarios and then reacting to those scenarios that have never actually happened. Like, say you think of a friend, and then you think of that friend doing something terrible to you, and then you think of, well, fine, I'm going to react like this, but then you start reacting to your actual friend like that, even though nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Or you don't know what their situation is, where, if you text a friend and they don't text you back for 3 days, and you're just like, well, they must hate me or something. You're like, oh, now you text me. It's the most convoluted, like, non-important things that you can think of, where I would blow it out of proportion. And it just got so bad, like really, really bad. And I was also always anxious as a kid. I had to be very careful about some of the stuff I watched because it was tough. Like we watched Left Behind, the movie Left Behind, when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And in that movie, the rapture happens, and God basically takes up a lot of people to heaven, but then their clothes are left behind. And I was thinking, most of the characters are on a plane when that's happening. So I was thinking, if you get on a plane, you're going to disappear. So our mom would go on a plane. I'd be like, no, you're going to disappear, and your clothes are going to get left behind. We're going to be left alone without you. And I was mostly scared about being the kid that got left behind.
Right.
And then other really bizarre, weird things like Jumanji.
Yeah.
We watched Jumanji when I was 6 years old, and the kid starts to go into I felt like it was a Ouija board or something, just like the game board.
Yeah.
I was 6 years old, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. Couldn't watch the movie later on. I was terrified.
Yeah, there's some freaky stuff in kids' movies.
Yeah.
I mean, movies in general, but like, as a kid, if you're not exposed to that stuff on the regular, like, it can really mess you up.
Even if you are exposed on the regular, it can probably still mess you up and make you into like a highly functioning sociopath. I don't know. Make you into Sherlock Holmes, maybe. I even watched I can't even believe that this was something that scared me, but I watched an episode of Full House where Michelle, she has a dream where her feet grow larger and larger so they fill up the entire house.
Yeah.
And that terrified me as a kid. I was like, I don't want my feet to grow large. So my logic was, if I wear socks to bed and all the time, they can't grow large. So I always wore socks, and now I can't stop wearing socks. I'm 22 years old, and it's still a problem for me. I'm just like, why did I think that? It's the most dumb thing. But again, as a kid, I was terrified of absolutely everything.
Right. And your brain doesn't have the mechanisms at that age to, like, logic your way through the problem.
That's the thing, is that I still don't feel like I have the logic that I need as a full-grown adult to make my way through the world. Because I still struggle with that a lot. I'll think, if this happens, then this might happen. Like, it's always thinking, what if?
Right.
It's the question of what if that's clicking your brain to going into 100 miles an hour so that you can't sleep, or you're just constantly on edge. And it's affected me physically and mentally, and it's been a challenge. So yeah, I'm going to see a counselor. How are you doing?
You know, pretty good.
Yeah.
Just kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
like, is it helping, do you think?
the counselor?
Yeah.
It's brought some stuff to light.
Okay.
One of the things that I also struggle with a lot is I tend to worry too much about other people's opinion of me.
I feel that.
I feel like I need constant validation from other people to feel like I have self-worth.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. You know, we're all unique individuals, and something about us makes us very, very special.
Yeah.
And
Everyone has intrinsic value. That's not from, like,
you don't get it from other people.
Right. Like, you get some, but you should have, like, a foundation of intrinsic value that isn't dependent on what other people think of you.
Exactly. And also, the thing is that you need constructive criticism to help shape you into a better person. But also, people don't always know the full you or what's going on with you. And you don't know what's going on with other people.
Right.
I always had expectations for other people. Like, I constantly expected them, okay, if they do this, then I'll appreciate it. If they do this, then it'll help me feel better.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd do it, sometimes they wouldn't. If they did do it, I'd be like, oh, I want a little bit more. If they didn't do it, I'd be like, wow, they hate me.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It's just like the most convoluted thing. And
it's one of those things where, like, if you can have expectations of people, but you expect them to do things that they should know to do for you because you're you, and you want these things to happen, but you never told them that you wanted them to do these things. Like, you never communicated, like, hey, you know, in this scenario, I kind of need this, or, like, I feel, you know, I feel a certain way, and if this isn't done, like, I feel a specific way about it. Like, if you don't explain that to people, like, obviously you don't want to be, like, explaining things to people constantly, but, like, if you have something that you need in order to function properly, or someone is doing something that is causing you, like, grief, like, is making your life more difficult, that is, like, a reasonable request. Like, if you don't tell them about it, they're not going to do anything about
exactly.
it.
People aren't mind readers. I mean, you can act in a certain way where people who are empathetic enough can notice that something's going on with you, but they don't know exactly what's going on with you. I think of somebody posts on Facebook, like, today was the absolutely worst day, and they keep doing that, and everyone else responds like, what's going on? They're like, I don't want to talk about it. Yes, you do. You definitely want to talk about
it. You
clearly
want attention.
Yeah, you want other people there to notice you, and to sometimes, you know, it has been a really tough day, and you do need to just vent. But don't put it on, like, such a broad scope as Facebook, where you got casual friends, you know, colleagues, that sort of thing, or just acquaintances.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have a good foundation of friends that you trust, you're able to talk to. Other times, you got to realize some of that stuff doesn't matter. Some of the things that you're going through, it's just ain't nothing but a thing.
Yeah, you gotta practice detachment.
Exactly. And a lot of that stuff, I know that I need to work on a lot of it, and I keep reverting back to doing the same things over and over again, which isn't good. But I know what I have to work on, basically. Like, I know that this is a problem. This is what I have to look out for. Yeah, I need to catch myself. I was listening back when I was going through that period of rough time last year. I was listening to this doctor called Caroline Leaf. She's I think she's African. It's like South African. And she was talking about rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
If you think more negative thoughts, it's going to make a pretty big impact on your brain. And obviously that's a thing. And it's a lot harder to undo some of those thoughts and thought processes than to get into them. Like, I think it takes, I think she said 60 days to undo a thought process or get over a hump of a difficulty in your life where you stop thinking about it in a certain way.
Okay.
I can't really remember it absolutely correctly, but it was something like that, where it's a very long process in thinking better than thinking worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to focus on the negative, and it's a lot harder to untrain yourself from
it.
It
is so easy. And it's much worse when you're an anxious personality like mine.
Yeah.
Because you prepare for I don't think I'd even prepare for the worst. I would just think the worst.
Yeah, assuming the worst.
I'd be scared for the worst, or scared of the worst. And one of the most profound things that my counselor told me was, just chill. Just breathe. Don't even focus on your breathing. Just, breathe for 10 minutes. Look at different things around you. Get your mind off of that and just relax. If you're at if your mind's going 100 miles an hour, just bring it back down by looking at or focusing on anything else. You see that car over there. Does it have dents on it? How many, does it have any stickers on it? That sort of thing. Just look at different things around you to help you just not think about that. Bring your levels down a little bit. Just relax.
I mean, it's one of those things they talk about, for anxious people, if someone's having a panic attack, one of the things that's helpful is all right, find 10 blue things in a room.
Yeah. So
you bring yourself back into the moment of, okay, I'm not again, it's kind of like detachment, where you're not in your headspace, you're taking yourself out of it, so to speak.
Yeah. You're being analytical.
Yeah.
That's
sorry, go ahead. Do you find that your anxiety keeps you from sleeping?
I did. It did for a while back in October, November. Yeah, I was scared of. I wasn't scared of sleeping. I was scared of not falling asleep. I'd go to bed and I think to myself, okay, I have to sleep. I have to sleep now. Come on, I'm waiting. Where are you? Please help me.
Yeah.
And basically, I'd get to the point where I was so exhausted that I'd be able to sleep for a couple hours.
Gotcha.
I'd just exhaust myself to the point where I'd fall asleep. And now when I think to myself, I'll sleep. I'll just wait for it. I don't have to. If you focus on falling asleep, if you focus on the fact that you need to fall asleep, you're probably not going to fall asleep.
Yeah.
You're so your mind is thinking about that. One thing that I've noticed with me recently, and it's kind of thrown me off, made me feel kind of uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's a sign for something. When I go to lie down, fall asleep, whatever, I will I'll just be thinking a little bit, and then random thoughts will pop into my head, or I'll say the train is going into the gummy bear world, and I'll be like, wait, what? All random thoughts that don't make any sense. But if I remember that I'm thinking them while I'm trying to rest, I'll be like, oh, I'm getting into that pattern of falling asleep. Because you generate a lot of different thoughts and ideas when you're asleep. You have dreams, and it makes no sense.
Right. You're kind of drifting into your subconscious.
Yeah.
When you're falling asleep.
Exactly. And that's kind of a comfort, but at the same time, it's something that's a little bit new to me too.
Yeah.
Because I'm why did I think that? That's absolutely weird. So at first, maybe sometimes I'd be wide awake thinking, what's going on. Other times I've kind of accepted it. You know, I think it's like, oh, that's one sign that I'm definitely going under. Okay, so that's good. That's a plus. What about you? Do you struggle with that at all, or?
I used to struggle with sleeping.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just like got more chill about it, but I haven't had trouble sleeping in years. Actually, unless it's like really hot out. Yeah, the heat kind of puts a kibosh on sleeping. But one thing that I have noticed, so one thing to do is like you want to make sure that your body temperature's well regulated.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to be warm, you want to make sure that like you're not wearing socks.
Really?
No socks, no shirt.
When you're trying to fall asleep.
When you're trying to fall asleep, and you want to make sure that you're like if it's going to be hot, you want to make sure that you're wearing as little as possible and covering yourself as little as possible. So
that's rough.
Like if you have a blanket, like get a thinner blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have to have like a blanket, like I feel like I need a blanket around my chest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. If it's around your chest, it doesn't have to be on the rest of your body. So like if you just pull it over that portion of you, like that fulfills the function, but you're still cooling off enough to actually fall asleep.
Yeah.
The way when I used to be super anxious and have trouble sleeping, I used to listen to podcasts.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the thing that I would do is I would put it on a 15-minute sleep timer because I heard somewhere that, you know, it don't like if you're ready to go to sleep, it only takes you 15 minutes to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'd put it on a 15-minute sleep timer, and the like listening to the podcast allowed me to shut my brain off long enough that by the time it would stop, like not immediately, and some nights were worse than others, but by the time it would stop, I would already be asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wasn't asleep by the time the timer shut off, I'd set it for another 15 minutes and then go back through the process.
Yeah.
And so now I don't listen to anything. I just I lie down and I fall asleep, essentially.
I remember doing something very similar. Like I was even looking into ASMR, which I had never done when I was younger.
Yeah. Or like a noise machine.
Yeah, well, I would just find a YouTube video of rain falling and then play that while trying to fall asleep. And a lot of the time it would work. Other times I would try and listen to ASMR, but what I found out is that a lot of the time it's more annoying.
Yeah, it can be kind of creepy.
They're like hitting a brush here and there and just be like, hey, now we're going to open this box very slowly. And I'm like, what? Okay.
This is not restful.
I'm like, I am on edge now. So I would listen to some podcasts sometimes too. Like I listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Yeah.
Just like this noise in the background, you know, listen to them cussing and swearing and talking about all this and that and the other. And I just be like,
But it's just like being able to listen to people talk, I think, is a major component of it. Like just being able to just like shut your brain off, I think, is the whole thing.
I find myself being able to fall asleep much faster if other people are talking. Well, you know how it is. Like if you're in church on a hot day, like you feel tired already, but if there's one guy talking, you're like, okay, here we go. I've had that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Sleep, talk, workout.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well, what are you working on right now? Like, what are you doing now that you're excited about? Like, you're doing the workout and stuff, and you're starting the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those things. Kind of trying to work on balanced nutrition, more or less. It's that's kind of a weird one. Like I'm not measuring anything. Like if you're really serious about your nutrition, like you're supposed to really calculate things and weigh things and you know, pick specific foods and like recipes that do like a really specific thing. But I'm not really messing around with that too much. I'm just trying to stay away from sugar and carbs for the most part. Like every once in a while, it's like, oh, you know, it's not a big deal because, you know,
it's the weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, less so that. Like, you don't want to get in the habit of doing it on like a weekly basis. Like maybe if you feel like you can afford it,
like a cheat day.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a dedicated cheat day isn't as productive as like, oh, I know I can have it, if I want it. But like in general, I'm just not going to.
Okay.
A cheat day, I think, opens up too many opportunities to like really like negatively affect the progress you're making.
Okay.
I know some people swear by it. Dwayne Johnson has like ludicrous cheat days.
I've seen like a picture of him with 20 waffles on his plate, or like.
It's so ridiculous.
I'm just like, dude, he's a big guy, but that's scary.
But he eats a lot of food.
He has to.
Eats so much food.
What is he, like 300 pounds? Something like that.
He's a big,
over
big
250
dude.
at least.
He's a huge dude.
Yeah.
And just jacked.
Yeah.
Like if you want inspiration, like follow The Rock on Instagram. Like
Ozzy has Instagram.
He has a pretty. I think Instagram is like his major thing.
Okay.
But like he'll do like workout videos or like post workout videos, and just watching him like get after it, you're like, holy cow.
Well, I remember watching one video where he'd just be pumping iron, and he'd look at the camera and just be like, focus, and that's even written on the whiteboard in my gym.
Yeah,
it just says focus, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you just got to do that. You got to focus on exactly what you're doing, like not overthink it.
Yeah,
think about technique. Basically,
yeah.
You think, okay, after this, and then push everything. Basically,
get it done.
One thing I've noticed is that it feels like more and more celebrities are taking to social media and YouTube. I feel like, at least, like I know at least a couple of celebrities are doing YouTube stuff. Like Zac Efron, he's doing workout videos, and Kevin Hart is doing different things too. And like Jack Black. Yeah, Jack Black is having. I think it was his kid. Was it his kid? His kid's editing the videos while Jack Black takes them, or something.
Something like that. I remember hearing somewhere that he supposedly has a gaming channel, but he never plays games on it. So he's just like, hey guys, welcome to Jack Black Plays. I don't have any gaming videos for you right now, so we're gonna do some music.
Okay.
and just messing around. So yeah, I mean, YouTube is huge. Instagram is huge, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's everyone wants to know. Everyone wants a little insight into what the celebrities are doing, like people they admire.
Now there's like, I think about it, and it's so strange, but it feels as if on social media, sort of not pop stars, but celebrities are showing up in the most bizarre places too. You know, I think of Jordan Peterson. This was he psychology professor?
He's a professor. He's a like a clinical psychologist.
Yeah, he's like a rock star now. Like people watch his videos and they're thinking, "Yeah, this guy's great. I love him." He's just talking about all this stuff that he's basically building people up to saying, "You have more. You have more that you can do than you can possibly think."
Yeah,
like you are cutting yourself short.
You have more to offer than what you're putting out right now.
Absolutely, and that I read his book over a very slow period of time, but it had a lot of very insightful things, you know, keeping your house in order.
Yeah. Like,
you know, cleaning your house, keeping your bedroom in order, making it all that basically. That will help you have a little sense of pride, but also make you want to have more stuff in order too. Like have more of your life in order basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
it having an orderly place of residence, having an orderly place of work, and having an order, like if you have everything not too extreme, like you don't want everything not to be OCD. Like just right,
yeah,
or like everything's wrong, but like if you have things in a structure, it's also going to reduce the amount of anxiety you have.
Oh yeah, exactly, because it's something that you can control basically. You know, there's things that are outside of your control, which I get anxious about, but I also get anxious about stuff that's inside of my control. Yeah. And why would you get anxious about stuff that's inside of your control? You can change that.
Well, I mean, I think it's sillier to be anxious about things you can't control.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But I'm saying, why would you be anxious about stuff that is in your control that you could change? Like something in your life, you know?
It's like, oh, yeah, that is a problem. You should probably go fix that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to be anxious about this the entire time. And I'm guilty of this so much where I'll think, oh, this part of my life, it just bothers me so much. And the other voice in my head is like, well, change it then.
You could do something about it.
Yeah, you know what'd be great is if you actually took care of it, yeah? I have multiple voices in my head probably, I don't know.
Well, as far as we know, neither of us have multiple personality disorder. But I'm a dungeon master, so there's some of that.
Maybe we just feed that into our Dungeons and Dragons characters.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my multiple personality, it just comes through the games that I play. So
Yeah, there have been some weird moments in D&D where, like, I'm not sure where this character's coming from.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea this was here, but apparently it is.
I didn't know I had this in me. I don't know if this is me. This is weird. Like,
I play some part of me that I've just never discovered before.
I play a dwarven warrior, basically.
Yeah, like a fighter.
Yeah, fighter. And he is the most outgoing, charismatic lover of anything alcohol that you could think of. And I don't drink any alcohol. I'm not a partier.
You don't drink and you don't talk to people. So it's
exactly,
like, oh, well.
Yeah. I was like, I'm antisocial and I don't drink. This guy's the complete opposite. And he's short and I'm tall. So it's like, I don't know if I'm just trying to do something that's so out of character, but he's just this boisterous character that is just, he loves life and he loves just being an absolute weirdo, which I do too.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have as much shame as me.
I mean, I think that's one of the great benefits of role-playing games is, like, you can act out facets of your personality that you don't necessarily have developed in other areas of your life. And you can try things out that maybe don't work. Or you can see how things work in the safety of a role-playing space where, you know, you have your friends around you and they're all going to, you know, go along with whatever you're trying to portray. So it gives you the opportunity to, like, really test things out. Okay.
Do you ever find yourself uncomfortable with certain characters that you play and how they react to something? Like, oh wow, that makes me uncomfortable like that. Why would I even play that, you know?
I don't think I've ever been unsettled by what a character of mine did in the moment. In retrospect, I've looked back and be like, oh, that's a little strange.
That's pretty dark.
I probably shouldn't have done that.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think of it also as you know, actors.
Yeah.
You know, they play a character that has to get into a really bad headspace.
Yeah.
And they have to recover from that, basically.
Yeah. And some of them have a really hard time with it.
Mostly, it's like people who have played the Joker. You know, they just go to a very weird space, and unfortunately, that was. Yeah, with Heath Ledger, that was rough.
Yeah, that was rough. And Jack Nicholson's still crazy.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he got crazy at The Shining or, you know, with Batman. I don't know.
He might have been crazy the entire time.
Maybe the entire time, you know.
You might have to be a little crazy to be an actor.
Probably.
It might be a prerequisite.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. What's the name of, who played the most recent Joker in the Suicide Squad?
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto. I heard he was, like, mailing things to his
fellow
actors.
Dead animals,
weird,
weird stuff.
Cut off chickens with their heads cut off or something like that. He was going full Willy Wonka on there or something.
Yeah, that I feel like that's a bridge too far. Like you can be crazy, but you can't be like
keep it in the
really
workspace.
Crazy.
Yeah. Don't take it home with you. Yeah. People, man,
they're nuts.
Yeah. I'm probably nuts too. But at least I'm open about it.
We're all mad here.
You'll float too.
All right. Well, I think that's about as much time as we have. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you so much. I love doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Well, I'll have you back on if I'm still doing this.
I hope you do, because it was a lot of fun and I think it was very interesting.
All right. Well, thanks very much, everybody.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Muddling Through podcast. Take care.